Hey everyone, my name is Waffle and welcome to Strats Explained, Magically Easy, a new video series where I explain how and why different strats you see or even do in speedruns work. And by the way, no, that's not an official name. If you have better ideas, please share them in the comments. We really need a proper name for this series. In the first episode we are going to be covering the strat called Dupe Fail. It is relatively easy to understand and it works in most GTAs, if not in all of them, starting from GTA 3. If you are not familiar with this strat, let me show you an example. In GTA 3 we dupe and fail a few missions and the first of them is taking out the laundry. The mission tells you to destroy 3 vans, but that is kind of slow, so instead pay attention to the gameplay. What happens here is you start the same mission twice by using a different glitch that I'll hopefully cover in one of the next videos. After that you fail the mission, in our case by dying, and it magically passes it, which is quite weird, right? So why does it work like that? First of all, I decided to ask the speedrunning community and see if they know the answer. Unfortunately, I got a very few responses, but the quality of them was quite nice, so it's fine. Let's look at the first one. Kamiks says that dupe and fail works because one instance fails and it despawns the mission objectives, so the other instance thinks you killed them, so it passes. This is probably the most popular explanation for this strat that I've ever heard. I think I've even heard it during various marathons. Don't get me wrong, this is a good explanation, but it leaves some questions unanswered. Let's start with the most obvious one. Can I complete every single mission using this strat? Well, the answer is no, otherwise everybody would be doing that already. You can use this strat only for the missions where you need to either kill somebody or destroy a vehicle, or multiple vehicles, doesn't matter. And even there are some exceptions. For example, let's say you're playing GTA Vice City and you want to kill Diaz during grab out to get his mansion. And you decided, okay, I'm gonna use dupe and fail for that. Well, remember, there is Lance with you the whole time, so as soon as you do it, Lance dies and the mission fails. Okay, another question. The strat is called dupe and fail, so can you fail the mission in any other way apart from dying? Getting busted doesn't count. Let's look at another mission that we usually dupe and fail in speedruns, Under Surveillance. This time we have an alternative way of failing the mission, and that is if we let the timer to run out. But will it work? Unfortunately, both instances fail, so we can conclude that if two instances are at the same stage, in our case right after starting the mission, then the only way to actually pass it is either by dying or getting busted. We can continue this list of questions, but to answer every single one of them, we'll have to look at how it works internally. Another answer that I got was a bit closer to the truth. Rational Psycho thinks that dupe and fail works because important characters or objects that need to be dead are getting added to the cleanup list, and then they despawn because we are too far away from them. It's not stated when exactly the despawning part happens, but I assume they meant right after we fail the mission. And as I said before, this answer is good. The term cleanup list actually exists. Moreover, it is very important. But first things first, let's take a look at what happens when the game spawns a vehicle. For that we're gonna use RE3. More information about this project is in the description. Okay, so here we are. Command create car. First of all, we check what exactly we create. If that's a boat, then well, we create a new boat and store it in the boat variable. Well, technically we store a pointer to the boat, but it doesn't really matter for us. Okay, next we don't really care about all of those lines, apart from those two. The first one adds our newly created boat to the world, and the second one is a handle. So what is a handle? Let's see, get index. Well, this name is a bit misleading because technically this is not an index. This function returns a pair that consists of an index plus a seed, but doesn't matter for us once again. So what is this? This is basically a number that we can later use to get our vehicle from the vehicle pool. So this is the important part. That's just a number for us and for the game. Okay, if it wasn't the boat, then it's either a bike or a car, so we create either a car or a bike. Then we skip the rest, once again add our vehicle to the world, and once again get this handle. After that, there is one more important thing, and that is mission cleanup add entity to list, where we actually add our handle. And to basically put it simply, now in the cleanup list we basically have our vehicle. Kind of. Well, kind of. But yeah, what we need to understand that as long as we have the handle, we can get our object back whenever we need it. And that's basically it. If we look at the command that creates characters, then we'll see that it is very similar. First of all, we create a new pet, and after that we add it to the world, and after that we once again get a handle, this time from pet pool, and we add our new entity to the list. So basically the same thing. Apart from vehicles and characters, the only thing that can also get on this list is a game object. If you're not sure what a game object in GTA is, then let me show you an example. Remember Farewell Chunky Chong mission from GTA 3? Chunky Chong had a stand, and that's a game object. Also in the Fuzzball, we have this banner above the old school doors, and there are more examples of those objects in different missions. Of course, not every single mission has an object in it, but there are quite a few. And the thing that we need to understand is that as soon as the game creates them, they also get added to this list. And another important thing that we need to know about this list, it is unique. And by that I mean that every single mission uses this, the one and only list. It's not like every single mission has its own. Okay, cleanup list has this interesting function called process. And if we scroll a bit further, we'll see an interesting loop that goes over all of the objects that are on this list, and then it cleans up them. Basically, we get back our vehicle, pet, or an object, and we remove it from the game. And by remove it, I mean despawn. So if you're like very close to the object or to the car or to the pedestrian, it's not gonna disappear right in front of you. But if you're far away, and we usually are because we die in speedruns, because it's fast, then yeah, objects get destroyed and removed from the game. And also from the list, of course. Alright, so what does invoke this function? Let's see, it's very easy. We scroll back, we press right mouse button, find all references, or Shift plus F12. I'm using Visual Studio, by the way. Okay, we got some results. We are interested in the second one, and that is command mission has finished. Okay, so now we know that as soon as this command runs, the list gets erased, well, everything from the list gets erased, and all of the objects disappear from the game. Alright, we are almost there, but we still need to collect a few pieces. After that, I promise you, I'll try my best to visualize stuff and make it easier for you. But before that, let me introduce you to another resource that we are gonna use. First of all, let me make it a bit bigger for you, so it's easier to see. What is that? This is a web page that contains source codes, like official ones, for GTA 3 missions. Those source codes were leaked back in the day, and unfortunately only for GTA 3, but that is better than nothing, right? Okay, I'm gonna leave a link to this totally not official Russian website in the description. It's easy to navigate even if you don't really speak Russian and don't understand the thing. A word, don't worry, it's easy. And don't worry, you're not gonna get any viruses. The only thing that's gonna happen is that I'll get all of your V-Bucks, and that's it. Cool, so let's go back to the very first mission that we looked at in this video. That was Tony's mission, and that was his very first mission. As you can see, it was called Laundry Day back in the day. And yeah, these source codes have official comments from developers and even cut stuff, as you can see. But first of all, let's search for these comments that we just found. It was mission has finished. Right, and as you can see, it's right there. in the end of the script. It's even called the cleanup part, you see? And it's there for the second mission, it's there for the third one, and basically for every single one. So now we know that this command is in the very end of every single mission, and it gets triggered every time you finish the mission, either by failing it or by completing it. But okay, doesn't really matter for us. Let's look at the code for the mission where we need to destroy those vans. I'm not gonna explain every single command, but let's start somewhere after the initial cutscene. So first of all, we create grenades, doesn't matter, don't care. Then we create the first van, store it in the triad van 1. Then we create another van, the third van. As you can see, there was supposed to be the fourth one, but it unfortunately, or luckily, didn't get added. It was cut. So what happens next? Okay, next there is a loop that basically says, okay, while this counter is not 3, we do everything that's inside of this loop. As soon as this counter turns 3, then we go out of this loop and look for the stuff that is located below. Let's see what this counter is and how can we change it. Well, obviously, first of all, initially it's 0, no surprise. So what's next? Aha, it gets increased every single time that we destroy the car. If you are not really familiar with programming, these two plus signs mean add 1 to the variable. So simple stuff, just plus 1. And we also set a flag so we don't count the same van twice. Cool. So we need to destroy the first van, the second van, and the third van in order to basically get out of this loop. And as I said, we use isCarDead command for this. As soon as we do it, then we go out of the loop and we go to mission passed, which is this part, and yeah, basically we pass the mission. So what we need to know now is how isCarDead command works. Let's take a look. Okay, back to RE3. Command isCarDead. First of all, we get our pointer to the vehicle back from the vehicle pool. How do we do that? You guessed it right, we use our handle. So okay, now we have the vehicle, and then this is where all of the magic happens. Once again, if you are not familiar with programming, then those two vertical lines mean or, so condition 1, or condition 2, or condition 3. And this exclamation mark before the expression means not, so it's actually not condition 1, or condition 2, or condition 3. So let's take a look at those conditions. Let's start with an easy one. When you blow the vehicle up, it becomes wrecked. So if the vehicle is wrecked, then the game thinks it's dead. Sounds logical. The third one. If the vehicle is drowning, then it's also dead. Well, yeah, you were not careful enough, you got in water, vehicle is drowning, you're drowning, vehicle is destroyed, vehicle is dead. Also logical. The first one is basically the one that we are looking for. It reads like not a vehicle. And what does it mean? Well, remember that before we tried to get our vehicle back from the vehicle pool. But what happens if our vehicle doesn't exist anymore at this point? So we cannot really get anything out of the vehicle pool because, well, it's basically not there anymore. And this condition exactly checks for that. So if you cannot find the vehicle in the vehicle pool, then the game thinks that it is dead, like the car is dead. If this condition wasn't there, the game would just crash. So it's very good it is actually here. If we take a look at a similar command isCharDead, then you'll see that it is so similar, so I don't really need to explain it. The only differences are, of course, pet pool, and yeah, there is like one less condition. The first one is if the pet is dying or if it is already dead, then okay, pet is dead. And the second one, if we cannot find the pet in the pet pool, then okay, we also think that he is dead. Cool, now we finally know everything, so let's sum it up. Alright, our initial state is very simple. No missions are running and therefore the cleanup list is empty. By the way, I hope you appreciate my amazing editing skills, but let's go back to the explanation. So, we start the mission, it spawns 3 vans and 3 drivers, and then it starts to ask us, yo, what about those vans? Are they dead yet? And we're like, no, not yet. Then the mission says, oh, okay, cool, I'll ask you a bit later, and during the next frame, it asks us again, and it goes on and on and on and on. Then we start the mission for the second time. It spawns 3 more vans and 3 more drivers. Reminder, all of these objects end up on the same list because, well, there's only one list. Cool, now we have 2 instances that are asking us, yo, what about those vans? Are they dead yet? And we're like, nope. And then they ask again and again and again. After some time, we finally trigger the mission has finished command by failing the mission, and usually we do that by dying because it's basically the fastest way most of the times. Cool, what happens when the mission fails? As we already know, everything that was on the list gets removed, both from the list and from the game. Well, one instance is already gone, the second one is still active, and it's like, yo, what about those vans? And we're like, wait a second, which vans? Can't find them, they don't exist anymore. Well, guess they're dead then. And the mission goes like, oh wait, really? Already dead? Cool! And it passes the mission. And this is, folks, how Dupe Fail works. I hope now everything is clear, but if it isn't for some reason, feel free to ask a question in the comments, I'll surely answer and I'll try my best to help you out and explain the stuff you didn't understand. I would like to remind you that everything we've talked so far isn't really about GTA 3 only, because it works the exact same way in other GTAs too. Right now we're looking at how the best GTA 4 speedrunners complete Paper Trail. I should mention that duping in this game works a bit differently, and you can have the main mission script and the side mission script running simultaneously without any problems. Here, as we can see, speedrunners use Vigilante, and as soon as it fails, it triggers a cleanup code. Shortly after, the enemy helicopter despawns, thus passing the mission. Now you know everything about Dupe Fail, from start to finish. But there is some more extra bonus content that I'd like to include in this video. If you feel like that's way too much for you already, then it's fine, I understand. Thank you for watching, you can always come back later if you want. But if you decided to stay, then without further ado, let's continue. So I also asked guys to ask me any questions about Dupe Fail. And Nebnoob came back with, why espresso to go, Dupe Fail doesn't work. That's a great question, and the short answer is, it crashes the game. The long answer is, well, let's find out why. In this mission we need to destroy 9 stalls, and as we already know, a stall is an in-game object, which means that it gets added to the list as soon as it's created. So let's see what actually happens. As you can see, I already opened the correct script, espresso to go. Let's scroll down to find something relevant. And that is the main loop. Here we are, while counter kappa dead is less than 9. So what increases this one? Let's see. And we scroll even more. And here we are. So this is the part that actually increases the counter. And the command is has object been damaged, so there has to be something inside of it. Here we are, command has object been damaged. First of all, we get our object from the object pool, which sounds logical and looks very familiar. Then, there is something that is missing. We don't have that not an object condition, the very important condition I must say, because what happens in reality is that we try to get an object, obviously it's not in the pool anymore because it's deleted from the game, so we get nothing, and then we try to access property of this object, but we don't have the real object, so the game just cannot understand what we want from it, and it crashes. If we wanted to quote-unquote fix this problem, we would do something like not an object or the rest of conditions. And then it would act exactly as the isCarDead command or isCharDead command, and it would work without any problems. But unfortunately, we have what we have, and yeah, the game crashes, so there is no way to prevent that from happening. Nebnoob also mentions that Dupe Fail works when the mission is mass duped. Mass duping is starting the mission more than twice, so thrice, 4 times, 5 times, and so on. While this is correct, you have to be very careful with this. Let me show you another clip. What happens here is I start Riot twice. In this mission we also have to destroy some vents. What a surprise, right? But anyway, first of all, I'm trying to get closer to the marker, because only after that everything spawns. After spawning all of the objects, I go and die, which should destroy all of them and therefore pass the mission, right? This doesn't look right, the mission didn't pass, but at least we got the cutscene, which means that we started a riot. That happened probably because some of the workers despawned and the game thought they were dead. Well, this is logical, we expected that, but what happened to vents? Okay, this is interesting. We can clearly see that some of the pets and all of the vents are still there, but they became invisible. We can go through them even though it feels like we are going through a viscous substance. We can even get inside, but unfortunately we cannot move. We can kill pets, they're not gonna fight us back. And well, all in all, I can say that this is a very weird state, right? I can also say that this doesn't happen in GTA 3. You can even pass the mission if you destroy those vents, but well, none of that matters. What we are interested in is why did those vents stay? Why did they not despawn? To answer this question, let's go back to the functions that create scars. We are interested in add entity to list, so let's look how it works. First of all, we are trying to find the free spot, and then if we don't find it, then we just return. How does find free work? Let's go here, it's right above the previous function, and there is a loop that goes over all of the positions in the list, so from 0 to max cleanup, and if the spot is empty, then we just return this spot. Okay, if we don't find empty positions, then we return nothing. Cool, so now we know that our list isn't infinite. We know that there is a limit. And what is it? Well, that's easy, it's max cleanup, which is 50 in GTA 3, and in GTA Vice City, and in GTA Liberty City stories, and in GTA Vice City stories. In GTA San Andreas, this limit was increased to 75, and in GTA 4 it was increased to 256. So now we know that if we spawn more than 50 objects, then the res that goes over basically overflows the list and never ends up on it. So it doesn't despawn when we fail the mission. And this is what happened in Riot. This mission spawns 24 NPCs first, and only after that it spawns 3 vents, and after that it also spawns 2 barrels, so in total we have 29 objects in one mission. So when we started for the second time, not even all of the NPCs get on the list, and our vents are way out. And this is why you have to be very careful with mass duping the mission if you want to dupe and fail it after. As you can see, the more objects you have, the less time you can dupe the mission. Otherwise you might get unexpected results. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video, triggering the mission has finished command. We already know that we can trigger it by finishing the mission, either by passing it or by failing it. But are there any other ways? Well, yes. For example, in GTA Liberty City stories, if you're in free roam, so when the game thinks you're not on a mission, and you get out of Avenging Angel spawning zone, that is Chinatown in Portland, Belleville Park in Staunton, and Wichita Gardens in Shoreside Vale, this command also triggers, and you can use that to complete missions way quicker. In GTA 3, GTA Vice City and GTA Liberty City stories, completing the last rampage also triggers this command. And those are just the examples I can think of off top of my head. Maybe there are more, I don't know, I didn't really search for them. But anyway, that's it. Now you know that Dupe Fail isn't just starting the same mission twice and dying after that. There's more to it. Now you know all of the details and all of the cool facts. I'll be honest, I didn't expect this video to be that long, but well, it is what it is. Before I go, I'd like to ask you to share your opinion about this video. Tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't. This is the very first episode and maybe we can make it better, maybe you have some suggestions. Tell me about them in the comments. Also tell me if you learned something new. Start your message with TIL, today I learned, so we can know how many of you made it this far. And if you feel confident enough, I have a challenge for you. So now we know that in GTA 3 any percent we dupe and fail 3 missions, taking out the laundry, trials and tribulations and under surveillance. But there are more missions you can dupe and fail, and not only in GTA 3. My challenge for you is to find missions you can start twice, then die, and pass them this way. Leave a comment, and if you are correct and I'm seeing this comment for the first time, this mission for the first time, I'm gonna heart it. You might be thinking, why would I ever participate in a stupid challenge? Well, let me tell you that. If you ever meet a cool girl or a guy and you want to ask them out, you can just show them your comment with my heart on it, and it's gonna work 100% of the times. Yo, trust me, I tried it on every single date I've been on, and it worked flawlessly. So you better be quick with your submissions, but be sure to check them in game first, because, as we already know, they might not work the way you think they would. Once again, if you have a better name for the series, leave a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If there are any other glitches or strats that you would like me to explain in the next video, leave a comment. I think I'm going to create a poll on the community tab in a few days, and I'm gonna leave a link in the pinned message, so make sure to come back in a few days if you want to participate in a poll and vote. One more minor thing, this is my first ever fully English video and I know I have a long way to go, so if you spotted any mistakes, vocabulary, grammar, etc, and you're not lazy enough to point it out, preferably with a timestamp, then I'll be very thankful. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you don't want to miss the next episode, then consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching, my name is Dupe Fail, and I'll see you the next time.